Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen anyone like blank out on simple questions like that. It was so weird. It really worked. It really worked.
Y'all know it takes a special track to do this. I'm Mama B's and Q's, drip the sauce. It's just the fluid, it's the chef. I'm here to remind y'all I'm sick with it. My name is stuff that's hot, it's ubiquitous. Meaning it's one and the same, simple and plain. I'm all about my paper, the bacon, cheddar, and pain. I got these lanes running for the border. The talented Mr. Porter, keep it flowing like it's water. But here we go, there we go, creeping to a low speed. Is it him and his friend sitting in the nosebleeds? Play it cool, he ain't special just cause he's on TV. Everybody's hands up, acting like they know we. Welcome to another episode of the Taste Music Here Food Podcast Show, the destination for all things food, music, and culture and how they all connect. Today, we have an amazing guest that we've become super duper fast friends. And I'm just ecstatic to have her on today. So before we even get into who I have to do this right and give you the proper intro that you just deserve. So without further ado, today's guest stitched a revolution, thread by thread. What started as a mother's gesture of love turned into a movement that now outfits the culinary world in armor built for artistry. She's the founder of Craftmade Aprons, a brand born in the heartbeat of the kitchen and raised by the rhythm of hustle. Her aprons don't just protect chefs, they represent them. They're as much a statement as they are a shield. She's woven resilience into every seam, spotlighted service workers through her Help the House Foundation, and redefined what it means to serve on and off the line. From design tables in Minneapolis to kitchens across the globe, she's become the unsung hero behind the heroes. Apron queen, industry champion, cultural curator, give it up for the one and only Miss Kate Meier.
That's powerful.
It is.
I'm keeping that.
You can have this. Listen. I spend probably an exorbitant amount of time writing the intros for. First off, I cherry pick all my guests, so there's nobody that I'm talking to that I wouldn't want to have a drink with somewhere. There's a no asshole sign on that door. and we don't allow anyone past the threshold. Yeah, sorry. I don't have to and I won't. So because of that,
yeah,
I have enough reverence for anybody that sits in this chair to do due diligence to pay people their flowers. I don't know if people don't hear it enough, really honestly, how they affect others. And so I wanted to really let you soak that in. I know it's hard for...
No, I really feel something from that. It was really profound. And I think when you're head down doing the work, you don't always realize that you're impacting or doing much of anything.
Right. You just do it. You're just doing.
But when you hear it from someone that you respect, I mean, that means it means a ton. Yeah. It really does.
So first off, thank you so much for being here. There's so much to cover. So let's talk about you, Kate, and your journey from just being a mom, just doing what a mom does best. Just doing what a mom does best, and to make something for the kid, to protect them, and there's something that he asked for, right? So take me through the steps from that one moment to trying to please your child, then to the revolution that it is today.
Yeah, so that really happened so innocently. And I think it also was like started by a little brotherly, like older brother looking after younger brother. Is like, he just spent $120 on this canvas with strings and it got ruined the first day with beet juice. You know, can you help us make something better?
We've
right?
all been.
Yeah. And it just happens. And you're like, that's what you get an apron for, those to protect you and to, you know, give you that durability and comfort. So when they asked, I just kind of thought it was funny because I'm like, an apron, that's like, really, that's what you need? And they're like, you'd have no idea. This is really important to us. And hearing that it was important, that made it then that much more important to me. So I just wanted to be that vessel. And you tell me what works for you and what you might like. And so that was really motivated, pushed, and started with them. So fabric, the texture, the feel, I went through so many different fabrics of what might work for an apron, because when you're starting out, just completely blank.
Yeah.
And you're like, what would work? And let's think about it differently. I would test fabrics, especially if they're cotton. I'd soak them in oil. I'd scrub the very bottom of my dirty oven where all that, because I had teenage boys come home late at night and make those pizza rolls, right? Something's in there.
Absolutely. That burnt cheese.
Something's down there,
great.
right? That's black now, and it's going to help me.
Right.
So I scrub that and then toss that in a wash. How does that come out? And so I learned that there were some fabrics that were 100% cotton that would take that. And when I started to learn that that was a good path, and I have, access to some of these fabrics that were kind of really unique, so they could have their own cool, different style.
Yeah.
It went from like that, me just doing something for them, and there was no way I had any interest in none of what I'm doing. There was no plan for this. Actually, I was recovering a second major back surgery. So I was just dipping in a little bit, doing something for them. And over a year's time, I was just developing more and more, like, what did they need? What do they want? How does it fit? Give me feedback. Here's one where to work.
Yeah, you had an R&D session.
I did.
Like in real time. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I toss them on each different kid for different reasons. I got one that's really picky about the fit and the feel in the pockets. I have another one that treats it like shit. And it's
durability.
I know what yes. Fabric test, that one.
Yeah.
So it was a whole process of that. And it was slow. I thought that I was just sneaking a few on them, but it just changed immediately when my oldest gifted one to one of his friends. And that was December. And then by January, I was meeting chefs in the back of a kitchen, and I was just making 5 at a time. And I thought this was such a big deal and crazy. I couldn't even blew my mind. I'm like, okay, this is really like wild that this means that much.
Yeah. And
then them saying, hey, could you start an Instagram so we can see what you're going to have next week? And I was like, wow, that's so weird. Okay. So I did that, and I would take photos of each apron, and that's kind of how everything started.
Yeah.
Because now I'm laying flat, take a photo, thought it was so cool. Took me like 4 hours. It's so great, and it was just this love kind of, it was, my kids were proud of it because it was kind of cool, and they're gifting their friends, and it took off as soon as I did that Instagram. Now I have DMs coming in because there's this apron and it has the state of Minnesota on it. And that is something I haven't seen before. So yeah, so here we go.
Yeah,
that was it.
I'll be honest. The first time I purchased an apron was because it had the Minnesota outline on it. I was like, okay, I want to support. And it was way cooler than a lot of other aprons. And I've gone through plenty. I'm not saying my age. I've been in the business a long time, and so good aprons are hard to find, far and few in between. And then ones that have a story is a whole different thing. So it's the next level. So because of this love and what an apron represented, that actually just carried through. Like to this day, the same mission is applicable. You just have a lot more sons now.
That's right. That's it. The family grew.
Yes. Exponentially.
And, the interesting part for me too is like, when we do full restaurants and you get to meet and know the restaurant owners, even if it's over email in a whole nother state, maybe you hop on a call at one point, but you get invested in them.
Yeah.
And I see so much excitement and enthusiasm, and I didn't realize how awesome it was for the whole team to have their matching uniform. And you think of sports, right? If you took away everybody's uniform and they were just whatevers, like you got that, you feel part of something bigger, and it's really special. I've had people tell me how much they saw like a prep cooker, someone just come right like into their own. Because they felt really unified now.
Yeah.
And, for me, when I was first starting out hearing those stories, my mind was blown because I just didn't understand the depth of that.
Yeah. So in this business, it's a little different than how it is now. But when I came into the industry, before you didn't just get a chef coat. Those were reserved for chefs, right? And so you had a utility jacket, which was what the dishwashers wear, and an apron though. You did get an apron, and that apron was your team uniform. That was the one thing that bonded you to everyone else in the building, and it was not only a source of protection, but it was also a badge of honor.
Yep.
And that was the first line of defense.
Yeah.
It is. It's the first line of defense for you. And at least I did. I cared for all of my things with the highest regard because I know what it took me to have that apron.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
And so like I remember the day I got an actual chef coat was a big deal.
Yeah.
And so I totally. And we had this conversation about the importance. I know, like you probably didn't understand at the time, but it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. And then because of the reasons why you made it and how you made it, and all of the natural R&D you did, just because you wanted to make it right. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make it right. That's why. Right. That's why people love what you do.
And that for me, I started everything with the loop neck, the standard loop neck thing. And then I was wearing one because I thought, how could I maybe make some suggestions? And I wore it, and I would tell you almost immediately, I started hunching my shoulders and I felt just uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And it gave me even that much more appreciation for my kids and those within the industry and how they have to perform and function daily. And then when you have all the things in your pocket, it's just stuff you don't think about. Yeah. You don't think about those little details. So when I felt that, I worked to create and design my own crossback that would stay and fit. And you have to find the right webbing that's going to hold up to that. And I really do feel pride when people bring me one they've had for 8 years and it's still, most of those pieces are still well intact after a ton of use. But it was that idea of like, how do I relieve some of this pain a little bit for my kids, you know? And then you think of that for others and you're like, how? So you go from like, I need to relieve a little pain so your day's better. And then you take it one step further into doing a nonprofit. And that's where it is like, if realizing the actual physical pain and toll, and then stepping into like, these are the people that I want to help. Right. You know?
No, that's amazing. It's amazing. All right. We're going to take a pivot. We're going to go into something that I call deep cuts. And so we're going to dig a little deeper into 3 topics. It's going to be a food cuts. There's going to be a music cuts, and then there's going to be culture cuts. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions in each category, and you just answer to the best ability. Don't think too hard.
Okay. I told you what I had for today.
Exactly. So listen, this should just roll off your tongue then. Okay. All right. So first, food. What's your go-to comfort meal?
Ooh.
And don't say Cheetos.
No. I make a really good chicken curry, and that if I have time to cook, that's what I love to do. And to be honest, that's something that my kids ask me to cook when they come home. That's what we do.
Okay, I'm expecting chicken curry.
Yeah, it's good.
You should never. I'm expecting chicken curry now.
Yep.
So
yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Favorite kitchen tool you cannot live without?
Kitchen tool, tongs.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good one. Most memorable dish you ever tasted? What's the most memorable dish that you've ever tasted, whether you made it or not?
I mean, if I go like really like, my mom used to make me this rice and with pork chops on top.
Okay.
And I can immediately.
With applesauce?
No, with that mushroom soup in the rice,
all right,
though.
Okay.
But it was something about that it was special. She, I don't know if I ever told her I liked it, but it was mine. And when you're the youngest and you have that.
That was your dish. Okay.
I'm making your favorite. And you're like, what is it? But yes, that would be very memorable. I've had so many incredible food experiences just because of who I get to be, which is amazing. I don't know if I could choose just one, but there's some, and if I started telling, that's not fair.
Don't make anybody upset.
Right?
Okay,
It's not fair.
Yeah. Okay, we'll
Not
move to
playing
music.
favorites.
We'll move to music
But
now.
boy, I can tell you later.
To save face, yeah, we'll move
Tell
to
you
music.
later.
Okay, song that best represents your brand.
Oh. Wow. I would have a hard time with this.
Okay, pick a genre then. Don't pick a song, just pick a genre.
I don't know, because I think we're really action. I think there's a lot of action. I think there's a lot of
I know that music is an important thing to you guys because you play
dramedy.
music. Okay, that is not a genre of music.
I know.
Are we creating? We're creating new genres of music. Okay. Dramedy.
Well, I was trying. So I've been listening to Beastie Boys a lot lately
Okay,
when I'm working because
I
it
love the
just
Beastie
gives
Boys.
you,
Okay.
yeah. So I was like, I just named an apron Intergalactic. I really like that song. Why? Why?
I love the Beastie Boys.
They're good.
I'm
And
a
when
New
you're-
Yorker. It's just there in my DNA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
Yep.
the Beastie Boys. Okay, so we'll just say the Beasties. Cool.
Yep.
All right. First concert you ever attended?
That was the Violent Femmes and a little college thing. It was cool. I think.
Okay, it was really
It's
good.
pretty
then.
good.
Yeah. Really cool. Okay, artists you'd love to collaborate with on a design. Present company not included.
I mean, music wise.
No, just an artist.
Oh, that's so.
It's vast now. Yeah.
I don't know what you just did to me here.
Okay,
now.
just pick a musician then. That narrows it down.
No, I don't think we can. I don't think we can play that game. I don't know.
Dead or alive?
I don't know. That's just really tough. That's really hard because I feel like there are so many different artists that bring so much to that, and I think I'm too random and wide and open as a person.
Then just grab one then.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay,
We'll
pass.
I'll let you slide. Pass. I usually don't do pass.
Okay, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm like, there's.
What about Warhol?
Oh yeah, I mean yeah. See, but that's real big. That's
Well,
like,
no, I said it's your dream. She
Okay.
dream big.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Nope. Now I feel real dumb.
Basquiat, Matisse, anybody. Yeah. The guy that invented the double bubble gum wrapper, whatever. It's your dream, okay?
I didn't have this as a dream yet. There is a local, though. There's a local artist that does a lot of spray paint stuff, and
Okay.
he's really, really incredible. And he and I have been talking about it. So that is something.
See, that's awesome.
That's an actual real.
And then you know that Banksy, I don't know if you're familiar with Banksy. He just revealed.
Yes.
So he's been.
Yes.
Yeah, he had to because he lost his phone in the pub. That's what you get.
That's right. That's right.
He had to reveal who he is.
Yep.
Okay. We'll go to culture cuts now.
Okay.
A cultural tradition that inspires your work.
Cultural tradition. Wow. I think, I don't know. It's like the hospitality part falls into a lot of different cultures. And I think that
That's a culture in its own. So hospitality is a culture in
just
its own.
the giving.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
That's it.
That's a great
That's it.
one. Okay. Favorite local spot in Minneapolis. Now, this is what's going to get you in trouble. So, I'm sorry.
Wow.
Got to pick one.
Well, I have a new one that I
Okay.
recently, but this is going to be bad. But Black Duck
Mm-hmm.
blew my mind. But I think I could go to probably 5 different places around here, and they would
For
be,
sure.
they're my favorites.
Yeah, I mean.
I would say Ola Repa. That's
Okay.
an also favorite.
That's a real mom thing to say. By
It
the way.
is.
Is
It is. It is. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
And finally, a book or film
Yeah.
that deeply influenced you.
Book or a film? You're expecting me to say something like Eat, Pray, Love or something.
I'm not. I mean, that wouldn't be far off the, off the beaten path.
No.
Goonies. Okay.
No. You know what? I like films with fighting. I'm a green belt. And,
This I know.
I
Yes.
like the sparring. My dad was a Golden Gloves boxer. I love that sort of thing. I think that when I watch films that there's some strength and power,
Okay.
and I always like to root for the underdog. But then there's also a badassery film, like you got Blood and Bone, and you're watching that, and you're like, okay.
I get it.
I mean, not that I want to beat people up secretly, but
Sounds like it. sounds like you're just waiting.
just wait.
You're just waiting for the opportunity.
Use that green belt.
I was that kid. Look, when Kung Fu Theater was on Saturdays when I was a kid, you went outside and you found your closest friend and kicked his ass. That's just what it was. So that's what we did. I don't know about anybody else. That's what we did.
Oh God.
I'm trying this roundhouse out on somebody.
Brothers, so
I'm trying this roundhouse out on somebody.
I got my ass kicked all the time. Yes.
And that's why you're a green belt now. See?
Yes.
You're like, yeah, not again.
Nope.
Okay. Great answers.
Yeah.
All right, so
I don't even know if you got any real answers, but I know I talked.
I mean,
I gave some words.
there's answers in there. I promise you, there's answers in there. You will.
We sort around in that word soup.
There are answers in there. There were Cheeto dust all over them. So, how do you see the intersections of? And you talked about this a little bit, but the intersection of the culinary arts world.
Mhm.
How have you interjected a lot of what you've seen and learned into your designs seamlessly? So I know that, like you talked about the net. So like the average, we would appreciate that from wearing it, but we wouldn't, we don't get into the technical sense of that. But other than those things, like what else? And of course, style, obviously. But
Yeah.
how is that marriage? How has that been?
Yeah. I still stay very open to listening if people have ideas or interests or challenges or things they'd like to see. I don't get people that want to change much of anything anymore, which is kind of also a little bit weird to me. There's the only recent change we've made is I have a noodle shop in Maine that we're doing a ramen one, and we're making aprons that are 53 inches in length.
Okay.
That's pretty wild.
It is.
Long, but that makes sense. But other than that, I don't make too many changes anymore, but I'm always on the lookout for better fabrics. And I think my most successful ones that I love the most were the Kevlar Nomex ones that I cannot get anymore.
I mean, that's a cool apron. And the fact that it's for the durable is super light too.
Yeah.
It's a
Yep.
I have one.
The fire resistant,
Yeah.
water resistant, like it's the best.
Yeah.
And I can't get that fabric anymore. And damn it, I want that. Yep.
That's a good one.
I know.
That's a really good one. How have just dealing with the multitude of different types of chefs and their personalities, how have you infused, and I know you have because just the type of person you are, how have you infused some of the things that is near and dear to them into not even the design, but just the way you go about dealing with others in the industry? Because this is such a personal, people-driven industry.
Yeah.
And that's why you've done as well as you have. That's why it exploded the way it did, because it's rooted in people. And I think that's where people that are not in the industry or don't have a reverence for industry folk, we sense that. We know, like, it's a transaction.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Yep.
But when you have a deep-rooted interest in the people, I think that's the magic.
Well, and I think it also comes from a little bit of just, I'm already at a place of understanding what your day's like or what you're doing with your
Yeah,
time
you
or
got 3
life.
sons.
So you're not coming to a place where you feel like there's any judgment. I found that people are generally really excited to share ideas and thoughts about an apron thing or fabrics or whatever, those details. They feel safe and confident in doing that without judgment. But there's also, you're stepping in to a space that already understands you, and you feel there. This happened almost immediately where people, they wanted to share that maybe you had down all day.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've done this now for a week and a half or whatever you're at, and you're not really as much as you're working with someone, a team, you're not really interacting with them.
No.
So you're seeing, even though you're around people all day and your job is hospitality, you're extremely isolated. So you're going to go home late at night. You're going to have those Cheetos or whatever you're doing. Sleep a few hours and get up and go back and do it again. I know the routine and I know what they're doing, but you're super isolated. Not everybody has a significant other at any means. I mean, and maybe your family has already said, fuck you, you're never going to do anything with your life. I'm not talking to you anymore until you get a real job.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're facing that and that's in your life, and I've met far too many people along the way who see that, Kate, you see me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was so weird to have someone say that to me in the beginning. I was like, seriously, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing. It really is, because and there's so much of this industry is not normal, right?
Right.
So you're an alien.
Yeah.
You're alien amongst regular people,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody gets it or don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. And you're talking a foreign language to people who are numb to it or just completely, dismissive about the things that you're complaining about. It's not even complaining, because I don't believe in my travels, I don't see a lot of industry folk complain about things.
They don't share
Ever.
too
We
often.
don't share, and that's the thing, because
It's very hard.
we get ridiculed.
Yeah.
And so
I'll say it made me feel incredible with the fact that people were willing to reach out to help the house and trust us, that we'd be there for them, not to judge, and that they could ask for support when needed. And gaining that trust was huge. That was huge.
That's and we touched on this a little bit before, about you wearing the badge proudly with, utilizing the outline of the state of Minnesota. How has your Midwest heritage played a factor in how you deal with and just approach this community? And we're not talking about just in Minnesota. So we're talking about globally, really. But how have you injected that sense of community into everything that you do?
I think I find it really interesting when you have those out there that I would say my boundaries aren't that great. Let's say in a good way.
Yeah.
And I'm very unique and I'm curious and inquisitive. And I treat everyone always the same.
Right.
It's just what I do. And it's like, I'm curious and I want to know more about you, what you're doing, who you are. And I don't care where I'm at. I'm going to be that same way. And that's just who I've always been. Yeah. But when I'm working with people within this industry and to be just what they call the mom person, I'm okay with that. That's fine. And in the beginning, I felt a little bit, God, damn, you're like my age. But I mean, it's okay because
that's a badge of honor.
I want to feel,
and that's a high reverence.
It's humble. I feel very humbled.
Okay,
and it feels great. I mean, you trust your mom, you love your mom, and you feel safe and confident to share, and that maybe it's going to come with some words you don't want to hear either. Like,
some harsh truths. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
we had a conversation when I first met you, and we were talking about just like, at its base, like, okay, what an apron represents. And and I was talking about, like within every stitch, there's a sense of community and being that goes into this seemingly meaningless garment, right? But what it represents is so much more to so many people.
Yeah.
And that process of those things and that community that you've woven yourself into,
Mm-hmm.
like literally,
Yep.
is the magic. That's the secret sauce.
That's it.
It really is a secret
That
sauce,
is.
and which spilled over into the foundation. And
Yep.
so,
It's why it's been a big important piece for me when I do an event. I'm going to have an event. I want that kitchen open.
Yeah.
And it's not the mystery behind there. We don't need to see them and we're just going to have food come to you. It's like, I want to bring it all in. I love the idea of open kitchens. But I also say, like, having something that's more upscale and the people that don't often experience this, I think it's important. And that's it. Let's bring it to you.
Right.
See what's going on. But it's that other part though, too. I feel a sense of responsibility to share also verbally the extent of time and hours and energy that goes into one night planning the menu, the food gathering, the prep, all of the pieces that go into that and the people that are helping to serve it. Like it's an orchestra, right?
It is
It's a whole
very
thing.
much an orchestra. It's very much a curated symphony, and so many moving parts to make it happen. And the reason why, again, to go back to that point, the reason why the natural progression for you is the Help the House Foundation is because you have such a reverence for the people,
Mm-hmm.
and you see their pain points firsthand.
Yeah.
Like you had to do something. Like there was, you had to do something. It wasn't something that, and again, I'm sure that this was never on the radar either. Just something, but you've seen a need, and there's definitely a need. I can attest to that. And that's the ending result. Like, okay, how do we help? How do we make a difference?
For me, it was hard to consider myself a business owner and taking from this community, even though I'm giving them a product.
Right.
Making it here is still expensive. I mean, they're all manufactured here. We have to charge a certain amount just to keep the lights on, but with that, they're giving funds that I know they worked hard for. Right. So, I couldn't take and not give back and not be thoughtful in how I'm giving back and hearing those stories. And every time someone would let their guard down and share with me, I didn't realize that whole time I was just gaining intel for like what we would do with our future and how all of that richness that I've learned in a very non-judgmental space, and to hear about people's lives and why they're in the kitchen, what this family is their only family and that they have that. To me, if you don't look at that depth and find a way to help make them stronger, I mean, that I have no business being in this business then.
Right.
I shouldn't be doing it. If I'm not going to be creative and thoughtful and mindful about protecting those that are going out of their way to build this brand, they're doing it with me. I don't have marketing. It's like the team is doing this.
Yeah.
And they take so damn much pride in that too. I can't even tell you when they see stuff on TV or they see stuff on Instagram on someone, they're like, holy shit, did you see that?
Yeah, no.
So excited. They're so excited.
Yeah, well, they've been in the know before everybody else knew. So it's something to be said for when you see, it's like, look at,
there's our team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So funny.
Absolutely. That's a great way to think about it too. Yeah, that's so great. So great. It's how I feel when I travel abroad. I go, people don't know I'm a diehard Yankee fan, so it's probably the most recognizable symbol on the planet. So I can go anywhere and see a Yankee hat. I'm like, hey, go Yankees. Okay.
I love that.
Let's talk about. And I know you don't do this. You didn't do this for this, but it just comes with the territory. It's a byproduct of doing good work. So, Craftmade Aprons have graced a numerous amount of television appearances. Right now, you see them all over Food Network right now with the Tournament of Champions and everywhere. I did photo shoots in Craftmade Aprons, along with a slew of other people. And the amount of praise that you are getting for just being a solid individual and making a quality product that we love, and it's sort of like it's been adopted as our own, right? And so that's
right.
And that's that level is you can't buy your way into that.
I would say for me, when I went to Philly was the time that blew my mind the most, because I had from the beginning, I was just doing that little state. I hand drew each one, and I was doing it just because I thought it was cool to my kids. I'm like, so cool. And my maiden name is Bourbon. I'm going to put a B, an A, B-A, Bourbon Apron. Look at this thing. It's so cool. So I did that. And when my kids were...
really quick, let's not glaze over that, because I know a lot of people were probably wondering what the B and A stands
Yeah,
for. So it's your maiden
Bourbon.
name.
Yeah,
Bourbon
Apron. That was it. And no intention of a business. I was just very cool for them.
Right.
And when they would wear that, people would, my son, one of them was saying he was doing this corporate event, and they were like, oh, that's cool, but they'll never go anywhere because that's so suggestive with that BA. And he told me that. I was like, what? So funny. But I wasn't intending to do that anyway. But when I went to Philly and we did a little pop-up there several years ago, there was a wait. There were people waiting. There were people waiting for that, for us to show up, and we sold out with the product we brought almost immediately. And I was like, this is Philly. They're tough. They love you or hate you. I'm glad they love me.
One or the other.
It's like the state is there, and they're okay with that. They're okay with it's become not a symbol of like it's Minnesota only. It's like this is a we thing, and this represents us as a community. We built a brand, and that's what I think has happened. It's not. It's been we built a brand thing. Yesterday was my 7-year anniversary from when I actually started a business.
Congratulations.
7 years though. Lots happened in 7 years. I was still sitting at my dining room table 7 years ago.
Wow. And look at it. Look at the explosion, right? And this just so happens to be there's a thin line between time and space. So like leaps and bounds. 7 years is to most not a lot of time, right? For especially for a business.
Yeah.
Right? And so many businesses don't make it to the 2-year, 3-year mark.
Yeah.
To go from your dining room table, as you said, 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
To where you are now, and being such a global force. What was the feeling like when you first saw your aprons in prominent kitchens? Like, what did that feel like? Because I know, and I'm probably sure that your sons were like, wait.
Really wild. I mean, it's still. I still feel that way. I still will take a picture of my TV. I still do stuff like that. But I think the first time I was just like, it was weird to think that you could do something that was good enough that someone would wear to something that was important to them.
Right.
And for them to honor that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's like, that's crazy. So then it almost became addictive. And when people would reach out and be like, hey, I've got this cool special appearance. Like, oh my God, I want to be part of that. What are we making?
Right.
It was fun.
Right.
It's always been fun like that. I still have that sense of excitement.
Yeah.
It's really,
That's
fun.
Amazing. That's amazing. Okay. So let's talk about the segue. Let's talk about the Help the House Foundation, about we know how it came about because of all the discrepancies in the industry, but just talk to me about how you landed on, going forward with and doing it in the manner in which it is. And it's a work in progress because it's growing, because it's such a big mountain to climb. So talk to me about the Help the House Foundation. Yeah, so with Help the House, I wanted to curate a team, 2 teams. Like, there's an executive team that just wants to do the stuff. And then there's a team of advisors that are within this industry, and each has a particular strength. But really getting the word out there was the big piece right now, getting that out there. And I would say that happened faster than I could have ever anticipated. But there's so much heart, depth, and soul into what this is and how we want to help. When you hear those stories, that almost immediately, all my focus turned to is how do we raise more funds? Right. Because the demand is there, and the demand is strong. And they're doing the right things, which is
asking for help. So it became this community effort of like, we got to get funds together. So we started, those pop-ups started happening immediately. These chefs are taking it on themselves to have what they're calling house parties, which is very cool. We had a Taco Tuesday house party. We're having a hot dog pop-up. And that is just amazing the way that they're taking it, making it their own, making it tangible, making it a space. Even those pop-ups are spaces where people that can't necessarily afford a ton can come, kind of be part of a thing. The stories, when you read the ones that we've helped already, it's a pretty emotional thing. Someone that has a like a stage 4 cancer in another state, and they've exhausted all their resources. They've even sold a car just to try to get by, and they don't know what's next. Of course, you're not, now you're completely at it. There's no insurance. It's really scary times, right? And I've learned that maybe we don't have a lot to help you with right now, but we have this, and it came from our community, and the way it affects those that are reaching out, even if it's not going to take care of all the things, but just that much is coming from a different place.
Right. And the support.
Yes.
And the support.
It comes
in a non-judgmental
It comes
support.
with community.
Yeah.
It comes with community. It's not like I'm writing you a check to help take away your, it's a community, and they know how hard the community worked to raise that. Right. And it has that's an impact in itself of I don't know. It's just, you're not alone.
Right. Strength
you're not
in numbers.
alone.
Strength in numbers.
Yeah. So that's
and
it.
People that understand and get it.
Yeah.
And we know, like, everybody in this industry, no matter where they're at and what level they're at currently, knows what it feels like to be down on their luck. Yeah. Everybody's gone through. Yeah. There's not a soul who hasn't. Yeah. And maybe to not some certain degrees, but it's, helping a fellow person that is in need is the right thing to do. Right?
I think it's also us recognizing that we've had those dark days, and that we've gotten through them. Not everybody
is that fortunate. Absolutely.
Not everybody believes that there's light. I have had people reach out to me, though, and say just the fact that there is a safety net, I can go to work okay. And I know that if I get in a really dark place, there's an opportunity for some help or some support or what we need. Those are my gifts. Right. Those are the things that come to me that I'll never forget. And I know the cool part is the more this grows, the more people get involved, the more they get to experience those feelings, because I'm telling you, there is nothing more humbling than having that sort of sense of gratitude. Is like, we worked on something and others are willing to come to the well. They're coming. Yeah. They're coming. And then when you experience that giving part, it's something you just can't explain what that feels like. Right. The cool part is someone nominates someone and they help each other.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so cool. They're doing
the work. And they basically, they're an ambassador.
Yes.
And a liaison helping them through the process. The fact that you just have a sounding board, right? Because I left my home. So I left New York to come to Minneapolis in 98 to open up Aquavit. And I was a kid. I was 21. And I did come here with a few people that I worked with back in New York, but that was it. And in a foreign place, living to work. Yep. Head down. Yeah, you just work. This is what it was. Yeah. And there was nobody, and you didn't complain to your coworkers because you didn't want to show a sign of weakness.
You don't want to be weak, and they're all doing the same thing as
everybody's. You. You're not. Nobody wants to hear it.
Bad for you.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear it.
Feet hurt too bad.
Exactly, and so there's just a sense of to know that today exists a situation to where people that understand are willing to listen and to help talk through, work through, and possibly help on a fiscal level with some things is amazing, which is why when I kind of like I have to be a part.
It's minds that are willing to, that are already thinking outside the box to join the team and help navigate and grow, because that's what you want, is growth and structure. You want to grow it and have it do bigger things. I just think that when we consider the possibility of like big change, right? Big change and bigger help, and finding ways to be more preventative too. And I think it's always that idea of kind of watch each other's backs, because you and I could be standing on the line together and I'm going to know everything that you're going through, but maybe our boss isn't. And maybe you're in a place of like, I'm fucking going to go home and this is the last day. Sorry.
Right.
If you're sharing that with me and I hear that and I know that I could maybe reach out to someone, or if I tell you, hang on just a little bit longer, because maybe your challenges that are too hard to face, but we're like, I got a place to reach out to.
Right.
And I'm going to do this on behalf of you, because I know you're just not in that place right now.
Right.
I'm going to do this for you because I love you.
Right.
That sense of that power. And then I've always said, we've got to have that. You're the one that's going to know. You're the one that's going to know. You know?
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. The person standing next to you knows more than it probably more than you know sometimes.
That's right.
Because they can see it.
Yeah.
Right. Where do you see the foundation growing, and how do you see it growing to benefit this community? Because again, it's not a state thing. This is a global thing. This is a huge undertaking, because it's a huge issue. And it's also, there's strength in numbers, and there's a lot more people who understand the need for this and who are willing to donate time, space, resources, and energy to see this through. What does the future look like in your eyes? How can we help to spread this word and spread this message and make sure that this gets out there to the people that need it?
And I think right now it is just that of like sharing that it's here, that it's a resource, getting a poster in the back of all the kitchens, get something in there. Fundraising. So there's multiple layers, right? You've got to do the fundraising, which happens, and it happens in a fun way. There's great fun ways to do it. But also the acknowledgement, the awareness that it's there, creating if I could have my real like big dreams, I would love to have, like, say we have those restaurants that we know that are doing it right and they've had success in multiple years of doing it right. Sort of like lay out a list of what do we do in a restaurant as owners?
Yeah, best case
to
practices,
create that healthy environment, because you want your staff there. Everybody wants their staff there. I don't care what place you're at. You want your staff there. You want them to be happy. You want them to feeling good. You want them to feel respected and valued.
Absolutely.
And I think if we could set a tone for what that could be, and people want to come into the kitchen, they don't want to have someone yelling at them, or they don't want to have a shitty time, they don't want to go home depressed every night. If we could create that environment of like excitement and joy and wins together, I've watched it and witnessed it, and it's like, I know it's doable. So I would love to have like a place where like we work together as a team, build a plan. How does that look? I'd love to have wellness centers in all states. I'd love to have wellness centers just for industry people. Yeah. That's been something I've wished for since like the day I started making progress as having a business. If we could have a space where people can go and take care of themselves.
That's not a bar.
Right?
Because that's usually where usually where the safety meetings happen.
Yes, but what if we had a space, right? That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. It's true. If we had a space where you could be creative in it, also have like a commissary kitchen or something that we could use, like maybe for a side hustle or whatever's going on, a gym. And also I want to have therapy. I want people to be able to come in and do that. I would love to have a space where we have maybe a massage therapist that wants to donate 2 days a week, and they're there on Tuesdays, and you've got neck problems, go. Yeah. That would be my dream. And in the process of all that, I want to also now have attorneys that donate time. We've already been talking about that, and I have people that are interested in that. Donate their time to help read over contracts, help negotiate, or whatever is necessary on a legal aspect, so they can give free legal guidance, because that would be a game changer. Game changer.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Awesome. Okay. So before I let you go, we got to go to the lightning round.
Okay.
So pretty much.
More dumb, Kate.
Hey, listen. There's no dumb Kate.
That's right. It's not an act, I promise you. I'm charming. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Sometimes that's not rocks.
That's hilarious. Okay, so
I excel in a lot of areas. Not some of
under
these.
pressure. It's okay.
Let's see what happens.
I'm going to ask you.
I'm as curious as you are.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions that you're just going to say the first
Oh shit.
thing that pops into your head, and is not an answer. Okay. All right.
Okay.
This is an apron color or design that best matches your personality.
Black. The metal. I got one black with looks like metal studs on it. That's that one I did for me.
Okay. And what color is the metal? Is it
it's
gunmetal or is it
it's
nickel? Is
silver.
it silver? Okay.
You know, I used to make studded bustiers for myself back in the when I had my fashion show at First Ave. That was my jam. I did some really cool things.
Okay.
So I
I wish I had a picture of one of those.
Oh, it was it. It was it. I had the whole fashion show right on the at
That's
First Ave.
amazing.
It was wild.
That's
it was
so
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I got to see those.
Yep.
All right. Dream.
Huge hair and everything.
The whole nine. Okay. Dream dinner guest, past or present?
Oh boy. Well, I mean, okay, I think just because there's so much curiosity in my mind about Anthony Bourdain, that would probably be it, because everybody within this industry holds him in such a high regard.
Yeah.
I
Tony
think
was a
that would
solid
be a
dude.
really interesting, conversation.
Absolutely. Tony was a good dude.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good dude. One word to describe your design philosophy.
Unhinged? No. I'm very
One word.
open.
One word.
Open.
Okay.
Open. Open. Yeah, that's it.
Open. It's
Yeah.
a word. Okay. We're going
Curious is
with
good
it. Curious.
too.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. Okay. Favorite late night snack after a long day?
Well, this is probably gonna be this. Yeah, it's dumb. It's real dumb. There's a particular type of potato chip that I love.
Okay.
Fresh bag of that, ketchup, dip.
What? Okay. What's the particular?
real bad,
What's the
isn't it?
particular
It's
brand?
really
of potato?
bad, isn't it?
What's the potato chip?
It's Lay's natural sea salt
Okay.
ketchup. Just
Ketchup.
awful.
Is it?
It's just awful. Just regular.
Have you ever had the all dressed
No.
Ruffles?
No. See,
Okay.
I am just,
no,
and
but-
I don't know. It took me years to gain this level of shitty food eating.
You're sufficient in it, though.
Or if I'm in a real hurry and I don't want to,
that took time.
took time. You throw those pizza rolls on a plate and you put them in the
In the
microwave, for a
microwave,
minute.
the nuke 'em. You gotta eat those.
Combination.
You gotta eat them in 30 seconds though, because if you don't, they're bricks.
That's true. I never used to treat myself this way, and I don't know what happened. I don't. I used to run every day.
Welcome to the industry.
I used to run every day. I used to do yoga. I used to have protein shakes and food, and I cooked.
You went from making aprons for chefs to eating like
potato
you
chips
eat
and
like a
ketchup.
a chef.
Terrible.
Yeah,
It's really bad.
it's insane. If you weren't designing aprons
Mhm.
or smashing chips with ketchup,
That's right.
what would you
I
be
will
doing?
be making a video of that too.
What would you be
I've
doing?
been,
Yeah, please do.
That's so well. Before I started apron stuff, I had a kick-ass garden, really, really amazing. Koi ponds, a lot of stuff, and I just hung out there with my dogs, and it was really like a really peaceful experience.
It sounds amazing.
It was amazing. I loved it. Yep. I don't know that I'd do that again though. Now, God, I don't know what I'd be doing now.
The world's a potato chip.
Traveling food.
Traveling food is always a good thing.
Yeah.
It's always a good thing. Isn't it amazing how no matter how great or how the heights of eating the best food in the world is how we go back to eating shitty shit. And that's just it's the thing that you lean on most. Like I don't care how and I've eaten all over the world at some of the best restaurants, but the thing that I go to
So bad.
is shit I know I shouldn't be putting in my body.
I don't even know when this happened either. And now it's like
Was
my
it a
husband
happy little
feels
accident?
like he's doing me a favor by loading this shit ass food in my house that I will eat because it makes me feel better mentally. You know what I had for my birthday for dinner? And everybody's like, oh God, everybody makes you the best things. I'm sure it's like on a silver platter, all this great food. I had a Marie Callender's pot pie, chicken pot pie. It took 7 minutes in the microwave. That's what I did to myself for my birthday. It's embarrassing.
So be it.
It's embarrassing.
I'm still trying to figure out when did the potato chips have to ever come in contact with the
good.
ketchup.
It's so
It's like sort of like
and
how
it's
fish.
really terrible. Like I told this to my social media gal because she's like, "What do you do? What are you gonna do with dinner?" And I'm like, "Chips, ketchup. That's it." She goes, "You've got to make a video of this." And I said, "Really? You think that would really make people happy? They want to see this?" And she goes, "I think they would. Open the bag of chips, and I take a plate, ketchup. It's real. It's a lot. It's terrible. It's embarrassing." And here I said it. I hope you have nobody that listens to this.
Oh no, this is out there. There's going to be a side by side.
Have you tried this? What I'm talking about? It's
No,
like French fries.
I
with ketchup.
also never just put a bunch of relish on cake before, but I'm sure there's some things I don't need to try. So, but it does. So the reason why I asked you have you ever had all dressed, because all dressed potato chips, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it is ketchup and malt vinegar.
Yum.
It's a Canadian thing, and I've had them in Montreal. And
I just had at that Black Duck.
And all dressed?
No, he took a perfectly cooked egg at a certain temperature egg, and he dropped it in the bag of fresh made chips, and he shook it up.
That sounds delicious.
It blew my mind.
That sounds.
You
really
have
good.
to have it.
I do now. There's no ketchup involved, right?
There's no ketchup.
Okay. I love ketchup.
Do you?
I do.
I don't even know if I really like it that much. It just goes really nice with these chips.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why I'm doing it. I don't know.
Listen, everybody has a thing.
God, I used to cook so well. Damn it.
Listen, thank you so much for being here. Like your story is powerful for many reasons. Your reason why, and the level in which you connect with people, which I think is your magic gift, which is why you've been bestowed the title of mom. And it's such an honor. So don't ever take that for being anything other than that. It has been an honor to have you on and to talk about all the things. Kate, we still there's a couple loose ends here, so we might have to revisit them. But tell the people where they can find you, follow you, and all the things.
Yeah, well, really, truly, thank you. And thank you for being someone of such integrity and class and like interest in doing better. And that really, I mean, we need more of that. We need more of that, and we need more teamwork, you know? So I feel really honored to be able to be here. Yeah, so I am terrible at social media, but I'm supposed to be getting better. So personally, I'm Mother of Aprons on Instagram, and that's kind of fun. But Craftmade Aprons and Help the House are the two things that are really, I mean, it just means everything to me. It's just, it's really cool to feel like, for me, I didn't even graduate high school. I'm a high school dropout. I worked really hard for everything that I've done, and I put myself fully into anything that I do. And I think that is just another part at some point, you know, when I get to a place of sharing my health challenges and all those details of me, people think that I've got my shit together, even though you know right here you learned I don't. But I think if you have a real honest like sense of something that you can do it, if there's just that little bit in your gut telling you that you can, Like, go dive in. Just dive in and try it. Try it. For me, I went so boldly into this because I was doing it for someone else.
Right.
And I had a love about it. I think there's that I encourage people to, I don't care how old you are. I don't care how educated you are. I think we all have a certain sense about us of what to do.
Yeah. We
just don't listen to it. Fear is a big thing.
Yep. Fear is a big thing. That's why sometimes you got to bust that bag of chips open and put that ketchup on.
Chips. Ketchup fuels you. Go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well,
thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, this has been another episode of the Taste Music Hear Food podcast, the destination for all things food, music, and culture. I'm your host, Ed Porter. If you have enjoyed this conversation, please like, follow, and subscribe. It's how we get things done here. And we'll bring you more stories like such on the next episode. Till then, peace. It's just fluidous chef. I'm here to remind y'all I'm sick with it. My name is stuff that's hot. It's ubiquitous. Meaning it's one and the same, simple and plain. I'm all about my paper, the bacon, cheddar, and pain. I got these lanes running for the border. The talented Mr. Porter, keep it flowing like it's water. But here we go, there we go. Creeping to a low speed. Is it him and his friend sitting in the nosebleeds? Play it cool. He ain't special just cause he's on TV. Everybody's hands up, acting like they know we.
NBC. No relation to NBC.